Before I get into this video, want to remind everybody that there was a Canadian newspaper who released an article with a front page that said there were certain Canadians that were undeserving of healthcare, and that if they get sick, they should be left for dead. So with that being said, welcome back to the Freedom Pines podcast. I'm your host, Jamie A.B. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you like dissenting, independent voices like mine. Today, I am absolutely disgusted with the behavior of the mainstream media, so-called mainstream media, as they like to say, so-called journalists. First of all, I would like to say that the amount that they say stuff like this is insane to me, when I have not seen one of these people do a job, an actual journalistic job. Between going to Million Man March and knowing what it was actually about and what they said it was about on television, despite, most people not actually coming, and if they did, they talked to the other side for the most part. And watching, I don't love Rebel News, okay? I don't love Rebel News. They are very pro a certain country across the way. And, I'm more of a Canadian gal myself. So there are significant things that I disagree with Rebel News on, but what I will not stand is the fact that people keep calling them far right. Okay, if they're far right, whatever, fair, but what does that make the state-funded media? Not far left? Not far left? I'm not sure in what world anybody would ever be okay with the conservatives funding media and the media suddenly becoming pro-conservative. I think they'd be unhappy about it. I think they'd call it fascism, etc., etc. Last night was a perfect example of one of those things where left-leaning men will scream at women that they don't like. The way that I watched this man scream at specifically Drea Humphreys, I didn't even know that Ezra was in the room when I seen this happen. Like, I'm gonna show you a couple of clips of this unhinged behavior.
I have respect for this sort of...
No, I know. I think that's what they're arguing about, is the Ryan Turnbull story.
Your little chattering class,
you
third-party advertisers that you work for. Rebel News? Yeah. Rebel News, owned by Ezra Levant, is a different company.
Is he learning that?
And he's talking to Keenan Bexley, actually, not Drea.
Well, I want to make sure the guys filming it, if they're going there, get a good audio. So, can you hear me okay?
I have a lavalier mic.
Enunciating properly?
Do you want to put a lavalier mic on and then I can...
That's why I
no
thought he
idea
was
what
talking to
setup. You got the
Drea.
levels
So
right
he's
for me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you're clearly not doing any actual journalism.
Really?
Well,
This is journalism,
when you guys
baby.
started gaming the rules and threatening to sue because you didn't get your way, I assumed the rules were out the window.
No, it's ready for a profit. Like, you follow the rules.
Oh, was that like when it was in black and
Oh,
white?
he
that
is
you
talking to
could only
Drea.
have one reporter credited, so that everyone might have a chance to ask a question. But instead, you wanted to take, what was it, 2-minute long questions, so that Polyev only got asked 3 questions. He usually allows 4 because things move a little bit quicker at his press conference. You guys are so verbose, I'll say.
He's so triggered.
And what I really don't enjoy is that everyone else here was being respectful, following the rules. Take advantage, threaten to sue, so that you could try to get more than everyone else. And now, nobody likes you.
The CBC
And now nobody likes you.
And we had 4 questions. Why are you lying? We
Yeah,
had the same number as
after
the
you guys
CBC.
threatened to sue, so that you could, that's why they got the 4 questions, because the commission...
You're making that up. You're lying again.
When did the CBC get 4 questions?
Yesterday.
Yes, after they had already...
And they had it the
spoken to
same in 2021,
because
same in
you threatened
2019.
to sue.
You're lying again.
I'm not.
So this is Alex Zoltan. I believe he was the one that asked about the genders to Mark Carney. And his is at Amazing Zoltan. So that's just a clip. That's literally part of this 5-minute clip where this man is unhinged. I first of all, the audacity to say something like that after Rebel News has not been allowed in so many different things that they've had to take the government to court. Because in what world is only having state-sponsored journalism the actual journalists? Can someone tell me why this man thinks that he's the only legitimate one? Because he, works for The Hill? Or whatever it is, The Hill Times, whatever. I don't know what it is. The way that he looked and spoke to these people can just tell you how elitist these people think that they are. When I hear Ezra Levant, David Menzies, Drea, Tamara, when I hear them talk, Sheila Gunn Reid, I do not get the sense that these people think that they're better than me. Okay? And they're actually trying to hold our governments accountable for what they do. And you guys say stuff and allow stuff like Rachel Gilmore saying this.
You can invite your unvaccinated relatives to sit at the dinner table with you this Thanksgiving. Experts are saying you might not want to risk it. According to one expert from McMaster University, vaccines are super effective, but they're most effective when you're surrounded by other vaccinated people. If you invite someone who isn't vaccinated, there's a risk of having a breakthrough case. Now, breakthrough cases are pretty rare. There's only ever been about 8,000 in Ontario, but kids can't get vaccinated yet. So part of keeping those kids as safe as possible is telling that one uncle who chooses not to get vaccinated that he might have to sit as one. You can invite your unvaccinated relatives to sit at the dinner table with you this Thanksgiving. Experts are saying you...
So, yeah. There was no next Thanksgiving for some people, Rachel. I know that you probably didn't go through a single thing during the lockdowns and stuff like that, but other people did. And the way that the media treated us, plebs, as the pleb would say, like we were, nothing but the people shoveling the coal into the Titanic as it's sinking. Most of us for the most part, stopped watching you guys when we, especially during COVID, unless there was like some sort of announcement about schools, I was not watching. I watched it for 2 days at the beginning and I got so overwhelmed that I turned off the television and stopped watching it. And I'm so glad I did that, because all they did was fearmonger for 2 years straight, call us crazy, not actually do their effing jobs, and then they take our tax dollars, and there's more tax dollars going towards CBC than there is to things keeping us safe, like CSIS. There's more people there's no more money allocated to CBC than there is to CSIS, our intelligence system. Give me a break. And Mark Carney wants to give more money. And it'll probably be like that episode of Parks and Rec where he's like, jail, right to jail. Where are the police to come get these journalists that are yelling? Right to jail. That's the country that these people think that we should live in. Look at this person's face when he talks to these people. Do you think that he does not see us, people who disagree with him, as subhuman, just like the Toronto Star does? Because they do. So does Mark Carney. Look in his book, Disposable Class. That's us. That's us. And the fact that they think that the only reason that they're legitimate journalists versus Rebel News is why? Because they fund their own money? That's weird, because you take our money from the government, from our taxes, okay, and then run smear campaigns against us. And you wonder why nobody's watching you guys, why CTV has less views than Rebel News. Oh, I wonder why. Because you guys don't actually do your job. And you went to school, you should know that journalism shouldn't be biased. Okay, you guys don't practice the ethical standard of practice when it comes to journalism. So why should we take you seriously when you've done everything to prevent us and broken the trust between the public and the media? Just wondering if you guys have figured it out yet that you're the problem, because you are. And everyone, especially under the age of a senior, can't afford cable. Most of us put our money towards Netflix or YouTube. So what is it? I can't wait to watch you guys on your own. See how well you do. Just like the rest of us have had to. And you know, the media is not the only one that's broken that trust as well. Healthcare, you know, every time you guys go against the ethical standard of practice, we all know that that is actually in place to keep and maintain trust between caregiver and client, patient and doctor, whatever you want to say. And that was actively gone against during the Panini press. And I still can't even talk about it. Everything is still censored. It's crazy. We live in this insane world where people think that their weird version of how they get media. Think of America when they were like, you know, they told us that all of these things were in the bag, like that these numbers were solid. You don't know numbers until the day of, until election day. And unless you're cheating, okay? And it's so disgusting to me that even the leader of the Green Party would go on CBC and say, we're going to do every single thing we can to make sure that Pierre Poilievre doesn't win this election. Shouldn't you be focused on getting seats? Focusing on your own stuff, maybe? And the out of touch, that's another thing, you guys. If you're watching from the mainstream media, if my stuff ever gets out there, you're so out of touch because you get so much money from our tax dollars, and then you wonder why we don't like you. I'm sitting there being like, well, watching people on CPAC even be like, yeah, Mark Carney's gonna win a majority. What do you mean? We just had Liberals for 10 years. How do you guys even think that? This is an election. You have no idea until the day of what happens. You don't think that Canadians are not going to the polls because they can't afford food? I just got back from getting my kids Easter presents, my son, his present, and half of the, I would say 75% of the groceries that we need for the next 2 weeks. $1,300. That's the reality. And I didn't even get my son a lot for his birthday yet. The amount, and you know what, don't tell me to budget when a bag of mini cucumbers costs almost $7. It used to be $2.47. Like, you guys, people out there are so friggin' ignorant to how much it costs for families to feed their fucking kids. Like, I can't tell if I'm skinny right now because I'm having a flare up in my Crohn's, or because we are so poor that I can't afford my regular food. I have to survive off of like beef jerky, yogurt, and like good quality. I eat what my family eats most of the time, but I have to rely on those things because they're dense in nutrients and I can't absorb things as easy. Absorb nutrients. I can't even eat vegetables. So like, people have no idea what people are going through right now, and it just drives me nuts watching the media talk about this as if they know what everyday Canadians are going through. No, you don't. The only party that does is the Conservatives. Why? Because they have been sticking up for women. They have been with women when the NDP and Liberals throw them under the bus when they're giving their testimonies about being beaten by their boyfriends. Conservatives are the ones there listening to everyday Canadians and their massive amounts of struggles. And what does the mainstream media do? Uphold the government that is oppressing its citizens by taxing them into poverty, taking those taxes and giving it to you guys. I don't know what part of history that they think that they're on, but I can promise you guys, if you're in the mainstream media right now and you're not Vashi, who's actually doing a good job at seeming to be nonpartisan, you will not be looked at in history as the good guy. You're not going to be looked at in history as a good guy when you literally actively cheered on people not getting health care due to their status. When you should know in science that no medicine is one size fits all, number one, and number two, there is always supposed to be a controlled group that doesn't get the medication. I don't know what world you ever would think that someone would be 100%, that an entire society would be 100% compliant with something like that. But dream on, okay? No, I sound really sassy and angry, but that clip of that guy yelling at Drea Humphrey and then when I found out it was also Keenan Baxter, like, people doing real journalism. The people I watch the most at Rebel News are Tamara and Drea, because they've been covering things that need to be covered, and I don't think they're actually rude at all when they do it. So anyways, I just had to get that off my chest, because I don't know who the media thinks they are, but they're not on the right side of history. They're not listening to real everyday Canadians. They're actually upholding the oppressors. And that's so ironic, because I don't want to sound like a leftist, but when you're actively taxing people into poverty, like I've said before, there should be no reason why we're not sitting comfortably right now. I'm good with money. I could make things from home. Like, there's no reason why. I already was doing things to save money to be home with the kids. Like, we went a long time without getting a new vehicle. It is what it is. We moved 7 hours away from our fucking family, because this is where they pay blue collar workers a living wage. And if you're wondering too why I look off into this, I'm not following a script. It's because my eye is lazy and I need glasses and I can't afford them. And I have to focus. So anyways, that's living in Canada. And thanks for the media for actually representing Canadian voices. Not at all, actually. People like Trish Wood, who used to be in the Canadian media sphere, have been sounding the alarm since the beginning of COVID. So, anyways, guys, what was the moment that you guys, I know that if you're here, you're probably watching independent media. What was the moment where you guys were like, you know what, I've had enough? I want to know, because mine was that article. I couldn't believe it. But I can. So anyways, guys, have a good day. And it's Good Friday. So if you're also still here, tell me what you guys are grateful for. I'm a Christian, so obviously this day is not, sometimes I don't know why we celebrate the things that we do. I understand why, but I don't know. I like the He is risen part. I'll go there. I'll talk about that. Celebrate that, But sorry for getting overwhelmed, but this media has just pissed me off. And they've just been acting like elitist pricks for so long. And Canadians are so sick and tired of it that you see them actively supporting people like the pleb. And CTV comes on automatically, and they still don't get the views that people like Mr. Sunshine maybe is really clickbait, but they don't get the Jasmine Lane views. They don't get the Clyde views. They don't get pleb views. Because Canadians are sick of it. So if you put your faith into me and followed me, I thank you so much, because we're one of, I hope many. Once C11 is gone, I hope I find the rest of them, because I know there's lots that I haven't found yet. So you guys have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.